After having the fans on a breathtaking cliffhanger at the end of part 3, Money Heist returns with the professor focused on revenge. He starts to salvage the situation the best he can, but a lot of things go wrong. Even if some of his plans do succeed, he finds himself in another game-changing problem by the end of it. If you haven't yet caught up with the show, head over to Netflix, spoilers ahead. Beware! And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Plot summary. Reeling from the loss of Lisbon, the professor has to save himself from the cops who have intensified their search for him. Not just that, he also has to find a way to save Nairobi's life. Either they'll have to get a surgeon inside the bank or she will have to be sent out. The differences between Tokyo and Palermo and their tug of war to take charges make matter worse. Meanwhile, Alicia Sierra offers a tempting deal to Raquel, Lisbon's escape. Part 3 of Money Heist has ended with Lisbon's arrest and the professor believing that she is dead. All of his actions after that were influenced by the thirst for revenge, if not for the survival of his team. It was after he talked with Tokyo about it that he realized he has been duped. Once he came to know that Lisbon was alive, all of his efforts were directed towards that. Knowing that Sierra would find some way to coerce Lisbon into giving up on him and the plan, he needed to send her a message before everything else. Before he could focus on planning her rescue or the next attack to save the lives of his people trapped inside the bank, he needed to make sure that she was on the same page with him, that she doesn't betray him owing to a higher dilemma. He does this with the help of Inspector after threatening and bribing him. Staging a rescue as he had done for Tokyo in the previous heist wouldn't be feasible this time around. Fortunately, he had thought about this before. Existing his fastidiousness about the planning, once again it come to light that the professor had considered the possibility of getting caught. It makes sense because the last time he was the only one working from the outside, so he had to rely on himself for getting out of a tricky situation. This time, however, it was him, Lisbon and Marcel on the ground. He couldn't trust them not to make mistakes, and so if they were to find themselves in a puddle, there would be a plan handy. Lisbon had already been alerted of Paris, so she just had to sit and wait for the day her arrest would become official. She would be presented before a judge, and for her part she had to keep them engaged for one whole day. All this while the professor team would dig a tunnel to the parking lot of the court. The next day, she only had to refuse to testify anymore, and on the way back to the van, she would be picked up. Rather than bringing her back to himself, the professor sends her to the bank. With Nairobi gone, they are one man down. Also, the team needs a win. To keep them going, Lisbon needs to be there with the team. Money Heist Season 4 ending. What it means for the professor. The season begins with the professor and his team losing all of their battles. They were wounded and heartbroken, and it looked like they didn't have the many options left. Luckily, the professor was ready for all the eventualities. The thought of Lisbon's death did throw him off a bit, but the rest of it was well thought. He got out Lisbon, he succeeded in breaking down the team of the cops who had been giving them hell, and most importantly, he found a way to keep the public opinion in their favor. Now the only thing remaining on the agenda is to wrap up the heist. He had barely relished the joy of getting back Lisbon when another challenge pops in front of him. The multitasking had him too distracted to pay attention to Alicia Sierra. He thought that after the truth about Rio's torture came out, she would be done. But he made a mistake, one that he had previously made with Raquel as well. She too had been suspended and he thought she would not pursue him anymore. However, she continued to investigate on her own and found out the location of the hangar. Had she not been in love with him, it would have ended differently. With Sierra, however, he is in a pickle. He doesn't know this woman, not personally at least. Whatever he had against her, he has already exhausted. She has nothing to lose, and what makes it worse is that probably she hates him a lot right now. Her pointing a gun at him is entirely different from Raquel's, and because the rest of his team has been busy with Paris' plan, they are probably miles away from him. With no one to rescue, what does it mean for the professor? With Tokyo serving as the narrator, the audience deduces that she'll be the only one to make it out alive of the heist. If that's true, then does it mean the end for the professor? With Nairobi's death, Money Heist has confirmed once again that no one is indispensable. Will the next season begin with the death of the professor? Perhaps he'll die, but not so soon. The professor will try to make a deal with Sierra, but she doesn't look like a person who could easily be bribed. In the next season, his team might have to formulate a way to rescue him for a change, because this isn't the kind of thing he would have anticipated. He is ready for solution to the problem caused by others, but he rarely thinks about the mistakes he has made. The only thing that might turn around his fate is Sierra delivering her child. First, she has a gun, and second, he isn't that far gone to attack a pregnant woman. But Sierra looks like she's close enough. It is never specified how far along she is. Who knows, the professor might have to deliver a baby to save his life. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, hit the like button, and for more such content, press the subscribe button. Thank you. Bye bye.